Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode corporate filings so you don't have to. Today we're diving into Juniata Valley Financial Corp's proxy statement. Get ready because inside it seems like even their directors are planning their exits. I'm just kidding, but stick around to find out what's really going on. In this filing we'll uncover who's up for election, what they're paying their executives, and any potential conflicts of interest. This is all about getting a clear picture of how Juniata Valley Financial Corp is being run. First up, they're holding their annual shareholder meeting virtually in May of 2025. Shareholders will be voting on a few key items. They'll elect 2 Class B directors and vote on something called a say-on-pay proposal, which is a non-binding vote on executive compensation, basically asking if shareholders think the top dogs are being paid fairly. Now, who's paying for all this proxy stuff? The company foots the bill to get your votes. They might even hire a professional firm to help. That's normal. It's like when you run for student council, but way more expensive. Okay, so how does the voting actually work? Directors get elected by what's called a plurality, meaning the ones with the most votes win. The say-on-pay proposal needs more yes votes than no votes to pass. Not that it matters since it's non-binding, so they can ignore it anyway. Change your mind? No problem. You can revoke your proxy, which is like taking back your vote anytime before it's actually cast. You can do it in writing, submit a new proxy, or even vote live during the virtual meeting. Let's talk about the folks in charge, the directors. The company has a structure with 3 classes of directors, A, B, and C, serving staggered 3-year terms. The goal is to have experience and the right skills on the board. 7 out of 8 directors are considered independent, meaning they don't have any relationships that could mess with their judgment. Time for the election. Marcy Barber and Stephen Sliver are nominated as Class B directors. Will not stand for re-election due to expanded professional commitments. Marcy Barber has been CEO since 2010, after working her way up through the banking world for over 35 years. Her past experience gives her a solid grasp on the company's operations and corporate governance, which is why they want her on the board. Stephen Sliver is a CPA who previously served as the CEO of Mutual Benefit Group. Having spent practically his entire career in financial services, preceded by public accounting and auditing, he's considered to be a valuable addition to the audit, personnel and compensation, trust and loan committees. Moving on to the continuing directors, Gary Kelsey, a lifetime resident of Potter County, Pennsylvania, brought years of experience from his time as a county official and his previous role at FNBPA Bancorp. Joseph Scarnati, a former Pennsylvania state senator, brings his experience in the private sector and public service to the board, serving on the trust, nominating, asset liability management, and loan committees. Michael Buffington, who serves on several community organizations in Mifflin County, Pennsylvania, brings a local view and the ability to access risk. Christina Calkins-Mazur draws on her past experience as the owner of a business when giving insights into the local markets. Martin Dreibelbiss, the current chairman of the board, has been consulting in the petroleum industry since 1992 and brings decades of community involvement to the table. Besides Marcy Barber, you've got Michael Wolf, the Executive Vice President and Chief Financial Officer, who's been with the company since 2021 and has nearly 30 years of experience in the financial sector. Want to talk to the board? Shareholders can communicate directly with them by sending communications to the Audit Committee Chair or the Secretary. The company faces a bunch of risks like market, operational, legal, and financial ones. The board keeps an eye on things to make sure the company has plans to manage those risks. Enterprise risk management being a company-wide initiative that involves the board. They're extra careful about cybersecurity because, well, everyone is these days. The company separates the chairman and CEO roles. They think it's good to have an independent chairman to oversee things, increasing risk management effectiveness and making sure there is no conflict of interest between the chairman and CEO positions. The bank does banking stuff with its directors and officers, but it's supposed to be on the same terms as anyone else. The company has a code of conduct that tells everyone to avoid conflicts of interest. I hope they follow it. The board met 12 times in 2024 with no director missing more than 25% of meetings. They've got committees for audit, nominating, and compensation. The audit committee keeps an eye on the company's finances, making sure everything is legit. The board says that Mr. Wagner and Mr. Sliver meet the SEC requirements to qualify as financial experts. The committee met 6 times in 2024. The audit committee reviewed the company's finances with management and Crowe L, the independent accounting firm. They got assurances about Crowe's independence and recommended that the financial statements be included in the annual report. The nominating committee finds and recommends people to be directors. The committee looks at the needs of the board and a candidate's skills and experience, among other things. The compensation committee decides how much the executives get paid. They even hired Herbine and Company to give them advice on executive compensation. This committee concluded that there were no conflicts of interest in this hiring. Executive compensation includes base salary, annual bonuses, and equity-based incentives like stock. The goal is to attract and keep good executives and reward them for good performance. The company is in favor of executives owning stocks. In February of 2024, Ms. Barber and Mr. Wolf received 3,000 and 1,700 restricted shares respectively, meaning they can't sell them right away. The company has change of control agreements with some executives, meaning they get certain benefits if the company is sold or there's a major change, which helps to ensure executives don't hesitate when pursuing change of control transactions that may be in the best interest of shareholders. Here's a peek at the money. In 2024, Marcy Barber, the CEO, made a total of $544,895. Michael Wolf, the CFO, made $326,526, a good amount of this comes in the form of salary, alongside some stock awards and other compensation. This pay versus performance section shows that in 2024, the CEO Marcy Barber's summary compensation was $544,895, while the average compensation actually paid to non-CEO named executive officers was $328,575. Ms. Barber had 3,000 unvested stock shares, worth about $39,060, while Mr. Wolf had 1,700 unvested stock shares, worth about $22,144. It seems like a good portion of executives are invested into the company. In the event of a change of control followed by termination, Ms. Barber could be entitled to $2,059,750, while Mr. Wolf could be entitled to $518,080. Now for the say on pay vote. Shareholders get to vote on whether they approve of how much the executives are getting paid. The board recommends voting for it, but again, the vote isn't binding. Let's look at what the non-employee directors get. The annual fee for attendance is $20,400, with the chairman receiving an extra $500 per meeting. Directors also get benefits under a retirement plan and split dollar life insurance. As of February 2025, directors and executive officers as a group beneficially own 210% of the company's stock. The company uses Crowe as their independent accounting firm. In 2024, they paid Crowe $305,972 for audit fees and $33,225 for tax fees. They've laid out the rules for how the virtual meeting will be run. Only shareholders can ask questions, and they need to be relevant to the company. So what does it all mean? It appears that Juniata Valley Financial Corp is making sure its executives are well compensated, seemingly invested into the company, and that the board is set up to handle risks and make decisions. Let's get to the analysis and see if this is an overall good thing though. The company's decision to separate the chairman and CEO roles is definitely a strength, promoting better oversight. However, it's worth noting that the say on pay vote is non-binding, which means shareholders' opinions might not always translate into real change. I always find these non-binding votes strange. If you don't care about the results, why do you have it in the first place? A risk could be the potential payouts related to change of control, which could be significant, so we definitely need to see if that plays out for the company. Overall, Juniata Valley Financial Corp seems to be running a pretty standard corporate governance structure with some strengths in its board composition and risk oversight. But it's worth keeping an eye on those executive compensation packages and change of control provisions. Thanks for tuning in to Corporate Decoder. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives, and let me know in the comments what corporate filing you want me to decode next.